Before we dive into today's story, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. Believe it or not, only 0.7% of my viewers are actually subscribed. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll drop an exclusive special video just for you. Mike had been living in his neighborhood for several years, and for the most part, it had been a wonderful place. Peaceful, quiet, and full of friendly neighbors. But everything changed when Karen took over as the HOA president. She wasn't just a rule enforcer. She was a self-proclaimed queen of the cul-de-sac, ruling with an iron fist and an obsession for controlling every little thing. Nothing escaped her watchful eye. Mailboxes had to be exactly the right size, lawns had to be precisely 2 inches tall, and even Christmas lights had to be in colors she approved. Once, she fined a neighbor just for leaving their trash cans out an hour too long after collection day. It was almost as if patrolling the streets and nitpicking over the tiniest infractions was her full-time job. At first, Mike did everything he could to stay under her radar. He paid his dues, followed the basic rules, and avoided unnecessary interactions. But soon, strange things started happening. Several neighbors reported that their packages were going missing. Not just during the holiday season when porch pirate were common, but all year round. Of course, Karen had a convenient explanation. "It's those teenagers," she'd say with an exaggerated sigh. "I keep telling the HOA board that we need cameras on every street, but no one listens to me." She'd shake her head in frustration, blaming everyone but herself, acting as though she was just a concerned citizen looking out for the neighborhood. Then it happened to Mike. He had been eagerly waiting for a brand new gaming headset he had saved up for months to buy. The tracking number showed that it had been delivered, but when he checked his porch, nothing. He double-checked with the shipping company, and they confirmed the correct address. That's when he remembered his doorbell camera. He quickly pulled up the footage, pressed play, and watched as a delivery driver walked up, placed the package neatly on his porch, and left. Nothing unusual. But then, just a few minutes later, a figure approached. Someone short, walking with a familiar stiff posture. The person glanced around, bent down, and snatched the box. Mike rewound the video, zoomed in, and his jaw dropped. The person was wearing a hoodie, their face partially obscured. But that walk, he'd recognize it anywhere. It was Karen. The pure audacity almost made him laugh. The same woman who had spent years lecturing the neighborhood about rules, security, and accountability was the very thief she claimed to be protecting them from. Oh, this wasn't going to slide. At the next HOA meeting, Mike brought it up casually. "Anyone else having issues with stolen packages?" he asked. Karen jumped in immediately, shaking her head dramatically. "Oh, it's awful. I keep telling everyone this neighborhood needs better surveillance, but no one listens to me." Mike fought back a smirk. "Yeah, I checked my security footage. The person who took my package looked familiar." He glanced at her, almost like they lived nearby. Karen didn't even flinch. Either she was a master liar, or she truly believed he had no proof. That's when Mike realized, if he wanted to catch her red-handed, he needed to go one step further. The trap. Mike put together a fake package, stuffing an old shoebox with packing material to make it look legit. Inside, he had a tiny GPS tracker, the kind people use to track their keys or wallets. But that wasn't even the best part. Nestled under packing material was a dye pack, the kind that explodes in a burst of color when tampered with. He'd read about them being used in bank robberies and thought, why not? A little harmless humiliation never hurt anyone. He placed the package right on his porch, making it look tempting. Then he waited and waited. It didn't take long. Karen, thinking she was being sneaky, crept up to Mike's porch, glancing left and right like a bad spy movie extra. Mike, watching from inside, had to bite his tongue to keep from laughing. She bent down, snatched the package, and hurried back toward her house. Mike immediately checked his phone. The GPS blinked as it moved straight to Karen's house. Caught in the act. For a second, he debated calling the police immediately, but no, he wanted her to open it. He waited a few minutes, then strolled over to her house, walking at a leisurely pace, giving her just enough time to unwrap her surprise. As he reached her driveway, he heard it A loud pop, then a scream. The door flew open, and there stood Karen, completely covered in bright blue dye. Her once perfectly pressed beige sweater was now a vibrant disaster, her hair streaked with blue, and her face twisted in rage. "What the hell is this?" she screeched, flailing her arms. Mike crossed his arms, fighting back laughter. "Oh, that's what happens when you steal other people's packages, Karen." Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "I found it on my porch." Mike held up his phone, showing the GPS tracker history. "Funny, because it was on my porch 5 minutes ago." A crowd had gathered, and neighbors were stifling laughs. Some weren't even trying. "You set me up." Karen spat, wiping at her ruined sweater, only making it worse. "Oh, you mean I caught you?" Mike tilted his head. "Yeah, that's not how setting someone up works." Then Mrs. Thompson stepped forward, holding up her phone. "Actually, Karen, my security camera caught you stealing my package last week." Karen paled. "And mine," another neighbor added. "I never had proof before, but now? This is amazing." Karen was fuming, but she couldn't deny the evidence, the dye, the GPS, the security footage. It was over. And then she did the most Karen thing ever. She pulled out her phone and snapped, "I'm calling the police. This is harassment." Mike shrugged. "Go for it." The crowd chuckled. They all knew exactly how this was going to end. When the officers arrived, Karen launched into a meltdown, waving her blue streak hands and ranting about being set up. Mike calmly handed over the GPS evidence and let the neighbors speak. It didn't take long. One officer sighed. "Ma'am, are you aware that stealing mail is a federal offense?" Karen's eyes widened. I was just stealing from half the neighborhood?" And just like that, Karen was escorted away, blue hands and all. The neighborhood? Absolutely electric with excitement. And Mike? He knew that, finally, the reign of Karen the package pirate was over. Or was it?